So people, when we say we're going to do each and every villain, we mean we're going to do each and every villain. And strange enough, this video is going into the history of Disney and the villains they're in. Cue the music. Hello and welcome to this part of the pond, or it's the Bullfrog and the one, the only, Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
We would love to have the subscribers. Of course, everyone would. We're just too small. And also, you want to see that face. That is a face that artists would love to do a portrait of.
Thank you.
Right after they throw in the garbage.
You know what? Bye bye birdie. That's gonna be good.
Bye Bye Birdie isn't coming, no matter what. I mean, we're at 63 right now. The promise is 100, so we're getting there. So Bye Bye Birdie is not a big threat, Newt. As we're going to analyze villains, we do it through a formula. Not by poll or opinion, it's formula. If you want more details, go here or look for it. And what is this formula in an easier rundown is it's split in half. There's a mathematical side and then there's an essay side. We throw them in the ringer, see where this does and where it puts them. But we don't for sure know who's gonna win because we're learning with you. No joke, we are. So now let's get to it. The TRex Fantasia. And we begin with design with our formula. And okay, when we look at this thing, it doesn't really stand out. And I know here in the pond we try to stay more in the film, but when we're talking about a T-Rex, we can't help but think of this. Now, I'm not trying to compare this T-Rex to that T-Rex, because let's face it, that's apples and oranges. In this case, more apples than these oranges. But we got to work on the design. And the thing is, there's nothing really stand out with this guy. I mean, look at that head. It looks like a head from a hammer. Just cut off the hook side and put that head on top of a T-Rex body. That's what it feels like to me. Yes, the eyes are red and it's looking not that scary. It's just a gray blob. Okay, it's more like a gray whatever, T-Rex. But it's a T-Rex that doesn't stand out. It's a T-Rex that doesn't scream that much of anything. And also, because this is Fantasia, there's no real sound effects. Which means this T-Rex doesn't have this. Ah, dang it, I love that sound. Well, anyways, all this does is hurts the guy. I'm sorry, well, not sorry. You are a 1 in your design.
Now this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May?
Ow!
Indeed, ow. Well, after design, we also go through presence. And with presence, it's... okay, I can't deny it, he has presence. Look at the video. He does have presence, but at the same time, does he have presence? It's like saying this. It's a mug, a big mug. And what do I do with this? I know it's in my hand. I know it has a purpose. Oh yeah, take a drink. I know this is supposed to taste. I know this is a mug. But there's something missing. Flavor. And that's what the T-Rex is missing, flavor. When you do presents, you have to have a certain je ne sais quoi flair that just says, I love you. This doesn't. The T-Rex's presence isn't looking well. And as we finish presents, we have to go to our handy dandy notebook. Because this is gonna help with the free-for-all. What am I talking about? Is time. No joke, people. I am timing and marking the time for each and every Disney villain. Why? To help for the free-for-all when it comes to presents. The times may hurt or help or hinder. It depends. And the T-Rex of Fantasia, how long are you on screen? One of these days, I want to open this and have it be the page. And T-Rex, you're on screen for 1 minute and 8 seconds. What does this mean? We'll see in the free-for-all. Until then, let's see if I can do this. Until then, that was better. Until then, this is your time. Who knows what we'll do? And with presents, this gives the score of a 1. Kind of obvious. And also, this clip.
Now, this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May?
What do I mean, May? Well, anyways, now we get to power. And I'm judging a T-Rex on power? Okay. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? I mean, what does a T-Rex have? Even this movie of Fantasia has what a T-Rex has. He has jaws. He has the claws. He's there. He's big. He's awesome. He is the T-Rex. A T-Rex does have power, people. And Jurassic Park points that out as well. And I can't help it. I love that noise. It's almost therapeutic. Just hear that roar and I just fall asleep to that. I'm serious too. It's almost that lulling. It's beautiful. And what does this mean, that roar? It's a T-Rex! Can't be more obvious. Heck, even this Fantasia T-Rex, though he may lack in design, yeah, he may take a bite of me and go, what's that, an amphibian? Take a bite of new and he'll go, that was more like a sandwich. So yeah, the T-Rex has power, but it's not an awesome power, but it's the power of a T-Rex, which is duh. And that gives him and power, let's be obvious, it's a 2. And now we get to the TRex Ability. And here is Disney history for you people. Through watching these videos and where we are, the Fantasia T-Rex is historic. Why? Well, in order to point this out, we need to talk about what came before it. Newt?
So it'd be Snow White and Pinocchio?
That's no question. That's the answer, people. Snow White and Pinocchio. Fantasia is number 3. In Snow White and Pinocchio, the villains talked about taking a life, but they didn't take it. So, what does this mean? The Fantasia T-Rex is the first Disney villain to take a life. That Stegosaurus, that's the first death on screen, people. Before him, the villains talked. They didn't act. This T-Rex is history, people. Take a proud to this guy, cause you bad. That's an act of villainy this guy holds up high. I may be wherever, but guess what? I have taken the first life. Yeah. And then cue the roar. Yeah, that's pretty something. That's something you can't take away. And does he do anything else? Not Not really, no. And here in the pond, when we judge a villain by being a villain, he has to be a villain. Now, when something is like the T-Rex, where he's acting, when he's being this villainous thing, when he is taking the first life we see on screen, why is he doing it? He's doing it out of food and necessity. He's acting like a real animal. And that we are not judging. We're judging villains. We're judging the black hearts, the guys who lie and say, I love it. These are villains where they go, yeah, you know what I just did? I just stuck a knife in that guy's back, and he was my henchman. This is what we're judging. The T-Rex taking out the Stegosaurus was act of an animal. So, no. He may have taken the first life, and no one can take that from you. But you are still a T. But you're still acting like an animal. So your acts of villainy gives you nowhere. This will put you in the green. A high green. And now we get to Bambi's rival on this side. And found out something interesting. The more you learn, the more you know. That Bambi's rival, according to Wikipedia and Bambi 2, I have yet to see it, but saw that acknowledgement. His name is Ronno. Okay, before we go anywhere else, I just want to point out that is an awesome name. And kind of a bummer. I just found this out now. I mean, after watching the movie 500 times, trying to get this guy right, I can't help but go, wait, I didn't find that in the movie. I had to find that on the internet? A little bummed, and B, that's an awesome name. I'm sorry, but Ronno? Good name. Now let's see what else you do. And we begin with design. And your design is your deer. Nothing bad about that. You're a little bit darker. You have the black stripe. And you have that. And we only get to see that for a certain amount of time. And this is seconds. Because after that, you go into that fight. And we can't tell who's who. I've always had a hard time. I've watched this movie 100 times trying to get this guy. And also Bambi's Hunters. By the way, watch. It takes 2 movies. You'll never see Bambi the same way again. Well, anyways, I'm just watching this and I'm like, which one's which? Really, unless you don't have the low angle, which he is permanently in the low angle. That's what you do for your design. What do you have? What do you have that's so interesting about you? I'm at an angle. Frank, what are you on doing this design? I don't know, Ollie. I just did it. I better lay off the grape juice. You should. Because the design's very blah. And to anyone who got the inside joke, do ya? So, design's obvious. It's a 1.
Now this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May?
Oh. Okay, Ron, I know that hurt your cheeks, but let's see how you do later on. After all, let's talk about your presence. Something what makes a villain a villain. And what makes you stand out. What makes you bring that to the screen. What'd you do? You interrupted Bambi being Twitter-pated. I think that sentence explains it. Do you think so, Newt?
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. You interrupt me being Twitter-pated. You interrupted me jumping on high clouds. Probably one of the most girly moments on this man movie. Yes, I am not kidding. This Bambi is a man's movie. And I stand by that. And this is probably one of the most feminine parts. So you interrupted me being in touch with my feminine side. Is that a bad thing for a man? No, it ain't. I'm a proud watcher of Pride and Prejudice, people. And what can I say? You interrupted me watching Pride and Prejudice? You want to take that in Pride? Bro, that didn't do anything for you. And that's what I feel like this is what Ron is doing here. Why don't you go out and do some weights? Ron, your presence isn't looking good for you. Let's see if your time will. I've already established it in the video ahead of us, so let's see what our handy dandy notebook does. Here it is. It's an estimated time of 1 minute? You're on screen for 1 minute, estimatedly. Is that bad or good? We'll let the free-for-alls decide. But all I'm gonna say is this: things are not looking for you, brah. Looks like you're gonna get your. Looks that May is. What am I saying, May? You're a 1, Newt.
Now this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May?
Things are not looking good for you, Ron. Well, let's see if Power can help you. After all, you're a deer. Well, Ron, let's see what you have in Power. You have yourself hooves and antlers and... that's it. In your fight, you show off what you can do. You can use your... I can use my feet. I can throw you around with my antlers. So, Ron, your power is that you can throw Bambi around? Yeah, he's our hero. He's our main lead. But yeah, put that into a sentence. I can throw Bambi around. You know, Bambi took a bullet. Villain History 101. He took the bullet. The first character to get shot. And you threw him around? Heh. Ron, the man card office is calling. And it's looking like you are the one got thrown by Bambi. Because guess what, baby? Your power is looking bad. You are a 1. Do that clip again.
Now this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May?
Failure. That's right, people. Talk about history for the channel. The T-Rex took a life. First in Disney history. Ron is the first of this whole ranking thing. He's the first ones all around. Give a round of applause for this idiot. Because I tell you one thing, he fails. Oh, Ron. Ron, things are not looking good for you, bro. Your name isn't helping you. The numbers aren't working good for you. Your acts of villainy, we're gonna be honest, this is not gonna be that long of a paper. Huh. I think I could fit this almost your whole acts of villainy on my hand. But we still wrote it down, really, and we did analyze, people. And who, man, I tell ya, this is not gonna look good for old Ronnie boy. And let's begin. Acts of villainy, we already pointed it out. You interrupted Bambi being Twitter-pated. Again, that's like interrupting me reading Pride and Prejudice. Is this something you should take pride in? Not really. Far from it. And look, we are not comparing villains just yet. But he is in the movie Bambi. So do you think this gives us a little wiggle room to show off the reason why this is gonna hurt Ron when it comes to the acts of villainy? Pull up the clip where Ron and Bambi are gonna attack each other. Play it again. One more time. Now you're asking why. Why are you doing this, Bullfrog? We get it. Do you? This is where we have to shift to a small reflection of the Disney of Bambi's Hunters. Just one moment. Because this is where we're still in movie. These two share the same movie, so I think we can give us a little small comparison. This is not the free-for-all, but we have to do a small comparison to help us establish what the mood delivers. And that is in Bambi's Hunters. No, when you go through this clip of Bambi's Hunters being established in the Bambi movie, we see this. Notice how the colors change and such? We go about this a whole lot more in the Bambi's Hunters video analysis, which is, again, two movies. I'll never look at this movie the same way again. Bambi, it's actually a man's movie. And I stand by it. When the hunters being the villain, they change the mood, they change everything. But as we saw in 3 times, as we watched the Bambi and Ron fighting, Bambi was the one who changed the colors. Bambi was the one who changed the setting. Bambi was the one that showed off that this was a point of contention. You mean to tell me the hero brought violence, not the villain? He didn't bring violence. He started it. But he was just taking Bambi's girl, right? Come on, you and me, we're gonna get on. After all, it's mating season. You're sounding like Quagmire, Ron. While Bambi, on the other hand, he's willing to beat you to a pulp. And not only that, he's the one who started the violence, not you, Ron. Ow. Ronnie boy, looks like your name is only good for you, because everything else is sucking. And I'm talking about the suckety suck that's ever been sucked. I almost feel like we need to get that clip from Psych.
Suck it. You suck it. Suck it.
Ron, that is for you. How about that, Ron? All ones, and probably one of the worst acts of villainy ever. It's kind of obvious where you're going. You're a green, and not just a green, you are a low green. Lesser green. So, Ronnie boy, this is not looking good for you. You're not a villain. You're lesser than a villain. You're an antagonist. Yes, we kind of somewhat showed that in the Fantasia Zeus, but Fantasia Zeus actually had better numbers than you. Hold on, that's for the free-for-all. It's for the free-for-all, but I just wanted to establish it. So, who knew that this sucker would be more of a sucker?
Suck it.
Until next time, it's the Bullfrog and the Newt signing out. Stay awesome, people.